Good day, Dean. Good day, classmates. I am Anthony Rizgal Villanueva, and I will be reporting policies and contracts. Policies. The purpose of personal policy. The purpose of the personal policy is to set forth procedures for employees in the organization. It is important for employees to have an understanding of the organization in which they work, the policies and procedures applicable to them, and the benefits that they earn. So, what are personal policies? Personal policies define the treatment, rights, obligations, and relations of people in the organization. They are the blueprints by which the organization runs the rules and procedures that protect workers and the organization from being abused, put them in control of their jobs, and keep them from making errors that will hurt the organization or one another. So, what do personnel policies include? Personnel policies may differ significantly from organization to an organization, particularly in the private organization. But in the government agencies, from national agencies and local government units, it could differ but slightly because the policies of the government agencies are in line with the Civil Service Commission. They must contain instructions and rules for dealing with issues and overcoming obstacles that may present themselves both during normal working days and under extraordinary circumstances. They touch on relationships, staff, administration, expectations, hours worked, schedules, what defines the work of a position, and way of doing things. For example, who gets to use what equipment when, how to arrange a sick day, that affect employees' lives and the running of the organization. Personal policies should be written in a clear, understandable language so that everyone knows exactly what they mean, and as little as possible is left open to interpretation. In many organizations, employees are either given their own copy or are encouraged to read the policies in some easily available form. But in the practice of the government, uh, the division offices of the government are given hard copy, and the Human Resource Development and Personnel Division, the Personnel Division would post the new policies in their bulletin board or any conspicuous places within the vicinity of the organization or agency. There are three types of personnel policies. Number one, the general policies. General policies have to do with the basic structure, philosophy, and roles of the organization. They deal with issues ranging from equal opportunity in hiring. That's why in the government, the hiring of employees are governed by the Civil Service Commission, the Omnibus Rules or the Ora-Ora, wherein the available plantilla positions are being posted in the bulletin board so that everybody can see it and apply if they are competent or they are qualified for a particular position. And advancement to conflicts of interest, sexual harassment, alcohol in the workplace, contract agreement policy. This is for the COS or the contract of service personnel or contractual personnel. Political activities at work. So it is understood if you're in the government, you are working in the government, you cannot do political activities. Safety, grievance procedures, and smoking. Another type of personnel policy is the hiring and employment status. policies involve the worker's employment relationship with the organization. Hiring. So as what I have this is a while ago, the hiring in the government must govern with the rules and regulations set forth by the Civil Service Commission. In the private agencies or private organization, it varies from one organization to another organization. Of course, interviewing and reference checking. So, in the application, in the government, since it is governed by the Civil Service Commission, there must be a body or a committee who will interview the applicants for the particular vacant position. So in the government, usually there's an examination conducted or given by the personnel or human resource development, and of course the end users. And after being shortlisted by the end users and the personnel, then they will be the applicants will be interviewed by the personnel selection board composed of the undersecretary for finance and administration, secretary of administrative service, representative from the employees association, division chief of the personnel division, and of course representative from the end user. Of course, it also involved verification of eligibility for employment, orientation. So once you're hired, you will be oriented about the policies, about the organization, about the vision, mission, mandate of the organization. And you are informed that you are given, in the government of course, you're given 6 months probationary periods. Promotion, of course, the firing, and everything in between. So those are the cover of the type of personal policy under which is the hiring and employment status. These policies also cover benefits such as friends benefits. So once you're hired, we'll discuss to you what are your friends benefits, what are your monetary benefits. For example, in the government, about the 13-month pay, about the 14-month pay, about the hazard pay, about the communication allowance, about the clothing allowance, about the leave credits. For example, in 1 year, 15 sick leave, 15 vacation leave, 3 privilege leave, and other leave benefits of single parents. Also include employees' rights, retirement plans. So the Human Resource Development Division of a particular agency does not only focus on the training and development of the employees, but also there must be a training, seminar, or workshop for those who are retired, so that they will be prepared in case they are retired on what to do on another phase of their life, which is the retirement age. Awards and recognitions, and reason for termination. And number 3, another type of personal policy, the everyday procedural policies. It deals with issues that affect the everyday life of the worker or volunteer and the day-to-day operation of the organization. They generally include the hours of employees. In other organizations, there is what we call the sliding flexi time, wherein you can go to work at 7 o'clock and then you can go out for work, and leave the work for 4 p.m., for 8 o'clock, 5 p.m., for 9 o'clock, 6 p.m. So they generally include the hours of employees required to be at work. How workers should dress. Yes. So we have the clothing allowance, and we have the in the organization, both the private and the government, there must be a uniform committee to discuss the uniform of the workers, when they get paid, and issues of security, as well as guidelines for how things are done in the organization. So let's go with the contract. So as defined by Merriam-Webster, contract is a binding agreement between two or more persons or parties, one legally enforceable, especially. So what is the purpose of the contract? The purpose of the contract is to ensure that both you and your employer have a clear understanding of what is expected during the term of employment. Usually, in the government, there's a contract for the COS, or the contract of service, or contract, or what we call this one. Those are not permanent. Also in the private organization, they have also a contract. In my experience in the organization, I've been working for almost 10 years in the Siena College, Quezon City. Even though I am permanent, every year there is a contract for us being signed every year, so that di kami makaalis sa alanganing araw o sa alanganing buwan. Kailangan matapos muna namin ang current year if you want to look for another work, if you want to have greener pasture. Kailangan matapos namin to, or matapos namin yung contract namin for a year, kahit na permanent kami to. So what is the purpose of contract? This document can also serve to eliminate any disputes which may arise at a later date. So, ang contract ay isang dokumento para maiwasan natin yung misunderstanding or conflict that may arise. Kasi po, lahat sa contract, lahat ng gagawin natin doon nakalagay. Employee and employer relationships, ano yung trabaho mo, anong dapat mong gawin, ang dapat mong sundin, policies of the organizations na dapat mong isalang-alang habang nagtatrabaho ka. It also helps you to understand what your rights are under the law. Both you and your employer are bound to the employment contract until such time that it ends due to notice given or a change in terms by either party. So when should contract be used? A contract can be used when terms for part-time, fixed employment, or permanent full-time are needed. So what yung sinabi ko kanina in the contract of service in the government, and even in the private company. It can also be used when you've been hired by a human resource manager, recruitment officer, or an employer. Policy versus contract. Policy is a guidance for the way organization operates. It is a course of action for a process of procedure, while a contract is a binding obligation, meaning if one part breaches, the other owes it damages. So what are the distinctions between policies and contracts? Not all policies are contracts. Not all contracts are policies. Violating a contract may give rise to a lawsuit, but violating policies does not always lead to lawsuit. So for the summary, personal policies and contracts govern the ways in which staff members interact with an organization and with one another. They protect both workers and, of course, the organization, and set the tone for what it's like to work in a particular place. So thank you, sir, and thank you, classmates, for the opportunity. Dito na po nagtatapos ang aking report, and maraming salamat po. Have a good day.